Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to a Monday night blog session here. We were going to do the custom built computer today, or at least get started on it, but due to I needed some extra hours, so I decided to work most of the day away from here. So I'm thinking tomorrow morning, I'll get over here and get a start on tearing all the old components out and getting the new components in. I just received from Amazon Prime today motherboard, CPU, and then some of the other important components to go along with the installation. The only thing I'm waiting on is the appropriate DDR4 memory that goes with the board, and I also had to buy a copy of Windows 10 Pro because I did not have a license available here at the shop. So, and I should keep more of it on hand, but usually the majority of the computers that come to the door are over your Windows 10 era machine. So a lot of your older machines like Windows XP, Windows 98, 95, Windows Vista, Windows 7, a lot of them have license key stickers on the cases. Actually, most of those computers actually have two license keys on them. When you buy a new computer like from HP or Dell or Acer or Lenovo or Asus or Dell or wherever, the reason they put there's two license keys per computer. One in case for some reason you get a different motherboard or something, or your motherboard fails on a computer, or for some reason the hard drive dies, or you do some kind of modification to the system and you got to redo Windows, and if the key that's built into the motherboard shouldn't work for some reason, you have a backup key on either on the side or the top or the back of the case, depending on where the manufacturer placed it or person who put your computer together, if it's a custom built. But once Windows 8 came around, a lot of those keys became digital. So when you installed your copy of Windows, it automatically detected the appropriate key and what edition of Windows that the key was designed for. Like with 10, you got 10 Home, and you got 10 Pro, or you got 10 Enterprise or 10 Education. But chances are, most of the time, the computers will either be either 10 Home or 10 Pro. But let's say you get an addition, you get 10 Home, and you're not happy with that. There's always upgrades out there where you can buy an upgrade key through Microsoft or eBay or Amazon or Newegg, and you just punch the new legit valid key in there, and you go through a few steps and a few processes and many reboots, and you can upgrade to Windows 10 Pro. And it also worked the same way for Windows 7 and Windows Vista. XP, on the other hand, did not have that feature on the operating system where you could upgrade within. If you wanted to legitimately upgrade up to Windows XP Pro, I don't even know why I'm getting into this, but what the heck, it's kind of interesting anyway, getting into a little bit of nostalgia. So you just wipe out your current copy of Windows, and you just put your Windows XP Pro installation CD in the drive, and away you go. 9 times out of 10, it goes successful, and the one time out of 9, it might hiccup and be a catastrophic failure. But that doesn't happen very often, so can't complain. All right, enough said about Windows XP. Windows XP is pretty much lost cause in today's modern technology. But in some companies, you can still get away with using it. If you're not hooked up to the internet, and it's like, let's say, an X-ray machine or a CNC machine that doesn't require internet access or doesn't have an ether or need for any internet, then yeah, you can get by with Windows XP. There's some even programs. I remember when I was in school, we had a CAD CAM router, and all you needed was Windows 95, and it ran just well. But unfortunately, the program, the instructor was like, I'd like to upgrade this to like Windows 7. That was at the time, and so it was a class project. We researched how much it would cost to, and unbeknownst to all of us, it costed for the program to upgrade to Windows 7 was approximately about $17,500 and some dollars. And we were all taken aback. And I'm thinking, why would it cost that astronomically much to buy a program that'd be compatible for 7? But then again, I think the school still went ahead and bought the program anyway. So I'm not sure if they ever went ahead and upgraded. They're probably still using 7 yet. But what was cool about the CAD CAM router was it was like, basically it's like a CNC, like a little mini CNC machine. You punch your coordinates in and on the program, and you had you had your grid, and you had it's like a laser that went around and it etched in there exactly what you wanted it to do. So you can make logos, you can engrave images and stuff like that. The only thing you had to be careful is what kind of materials you put in there, because if you put like plastic in there, it would melt, and it really stunk. But it was still fun using a CAD CAM system. But basically, enough said about that. After the first of the year, I'm going to sit down and go through finances here, get ready for tax season. And well, since COVID hit, things have kind of plummeted in the finance department here, basically, because a lot of stuff I was going to do this year, I kind of held off with a lot of major stuff I was going to do here. And I did get an upgraded computer for myself at home to replace the one that I've been using for the last decade. And most of the people out and are like, unbelievable. That's what the replacement I ended up buying was a Dell XPS multimedia computer. I was going to go with another Optiplex, but the problem was I couldn't find anything that had a decent graphics card in there, and I want something a little bit more powerful of a power supply. So originally, actually, I've been talking about getting a new computer for myself for the last 5 years, and I saved up for quite some time. I didn't quite get what I wanted either, but sometimes you can't. Sometimes you just got to kind of settle for close to what you want. And I was gonna get a new workhorse of a computer for here, but I decided to hold off on getting that because the one that's here now is working just fine. It's kind of slow for what I need it to do, but we're gonna hold off for another year or two because I got to build my savings back up because I've been eating through a lot of savings. So that's unfortunate, but it happens with the business. You kind of made a few minor business mistakes, but most of those HP computers that I had here in stock and I sold off, a lot of those ended up coming back because either the motherboards went out, or the components on the board quit working, like the video or sound or the USB, or computers would start up and then all of a sudden the next day they wouldn't work, and then they'd work again. And so I could have bought new motherboards from them and just sold them off again, but the problem with HP is this has been a very known fact with after 2014, that's when everything started going downhill. And it's the technical college that I was going to about 2-3 years ago. They bought a couple hundred of those HP Elite desks. I think that was 800s, and about 60 out of 100 of them, either the motherboards burned up, or they had video on them quit working, or the sound, or the USB ports, or I think there's even a few of them that started combusting on fire. So when you buy 60 out of 100, that's not a very good track record for computers that quit working after a month after buying them. I don't know if actually it's kind of sad if you think about it, it's kind of sad that after a month that a computer would malfunction, or 60 computers out of 100 would malfunction. Now, out of all the years of selling computers, I sold a number of Dells and a number of Lenovo's, and I haven't had any problems with them, and I haven't had anybody complain about Lenovo's or Dell's. So that's kind of getting away from HP's now, and I'm kind of going towards Dell, or focusing more on Dell and Lenovo. I'm not going to promote HP anymore, or HP laptops, because they seem to just be very problematic as well. I've had a few Elite books come through here recently, and I still have a stack of them sitting here that's on customers like, what do you want? What do you think I should do with them? And I'm like, well, let's think on it and we'll get back to you. Well, they're actually in no hurry to get them fixed either. They basically told me, well, whenever you get some free time, when you get a lull, take a look at them and see what you think of them. So I don't know if I'm gonna make a video on sitting there Mickey Mousing around with them. I really don't think I'm going to, because it's probably gonna be more. It's gonna be more of a waste of time to video it than just do that off camera. So that's something I'm not gonna film. But any minor project that comes through here, yeah, I have a tendency of doing a live stream of it. But anything like messing around with those laptops or those towers, I'm not gonna waste your time with that, because I pretty much know what the outcome is gonna be. There's I'm probably just gonna wind up parting them out, taking the RAM out of them, taking the hard drives out, CPUs, heat sinks, save the screens, keyboards, bezels. That's what I pretty much do now with a lot of laptops or desks or that come through. Anything that's broke, I have an archive of spare parts, because I do get laptops that come through here that need replacement keyboards, or they need replacement screens, or they need memory upgrades. Eventually, I am planning on getting a memory tester here at the office. They're very pricey, but if I get a lot of support and a lot of contributions, we can make that happen. Otherwise, I got to take them to any memory. I got to take to a remote shop in the next 5 towns over. Actually, either I got to chase to Milwaukee or I got to chase to Appleton or Green Bay if I want to get any of that stuff tested. And they usually charge an arm and a leg for getting memory tested. And a lot of times the outcome of it is that the memory module is bad anyway, but eventually we will get one here. It'd be nice if there's also a motherboard tester to determine if the motherboard is good or. I don't think they have something like that yet, but that'd be kind of cool if they ever came up with something like that. Okay, enough said about that, but I had a lot of comments already within the last 7 days of people are like, "Gee, where's your holiday decor and that?" And I'm like, I'll get around to it eventually. I've just been kind of busy. I just got a lot going on right now with the main job, and because in order to keep this place afloat financially, you got to have another income to fall back on in case you get a slow week, and sometimes usually around this time of the year, a lot of people are spending money on Christmas, on Hanukkah or Kwanzaa. So not everybody has money to get. And then since the pandemic, a lot of people have been spending money on technology, home improvements. People haven't really been going anywhere doing anything, so they've been just kind of keeping up or catching up on things around the house that they haven't been getting around to. So that's perfectly understandable. There's some people. The only thing that really kind of annoys me is you see people riding around in their cars with their mask on, and I'm thinking, come on, for crying out loud, you're not gonna catch the coronavirus just by driving in your car. Sure, you might pick it up in the hospital, but I can tell you, you're definitely not going to pick it up in church, and you're not going to pick it up in the store. You're not going to pick it up just by walking outside, and you're not going to pick it up going to a bar either. All it is just a big fear game, and I don't buy into it. And I don't buy into the vaccine, and I don't plan on getting their vaccine either. All that it's going to do is it's going to destroy your body, and because there's already been reports out there that's from different doctors, and I have a few friends that work in the medical field, and some of the symptoms that you could possibly get off of that vaccine is similar to Lyme's disease, and then there's another one, that disease that could paralyze you. That one is called, I'll just put it this way: Lyme disease is not fun to deal with. It just you kind of, when you get it, you kind of get you just get sore and achy, and you sleep the whole day away, and you kind of get depression from it, and then sometimes you never get over it, and sometimes it turns into, I'll find that research a little bit later. Yeah, I found what I was looking for. Let's see here. Okay, let's see here. All right. Internet's a little slow. That is worst case scenario of Lyme disease, or on the extreme end of Lyme diseases, is that Guillain-Barré syndrome, which actually is a very rare disease, and actually it's even a lot worse than contracting Lyme's disease, which actually that could actually paralyze you. But hopefully, person never catches or gets to that point. But so as for 2021, I got a few goals that I'm trying to get back on track with, getting fit and getting toned up and that. Then I'm trying to fight some of the other things around here that have been kind of troublesome, but 2021 will be a new year and things will get better, and even things politically will probably get better, maybe. Who knows? Just kind of blows me away all that goes on with the election, and is that a technicality? Basically, Trump won, but with all the voting fraud going on, but the problem is there's no really proof for them to actually back it up with. But on a technicality, what Trump could do is he could pull martial law. Not a good situation either, but we got one comment from Gordon. Hey, bro. So how's everybody doing out in the audience tonight? All right, I just got it. I don't normally do blogs like this very often, but you gotta switch things up every once in a while. Do something new, do something different. If you do the same kind of thing every day, it get kind of boring. So I was talking with the landlord the other day here, and they got some major plans for this coming summer. So it'll be kind of nice. They'll be getting a new hot water boiler, and they plan on fixing up the cosmetic of the outside of the building. They're gonna repaint the trim and put maybe even a new window in, or 2 new windows for here. There's possibly a tenant moving in on the other side, My plan was always to take over that other little side room. Am I gonna make a glory hole? Probably not. Oh well, it is what it is. You just gotta make the best of things. And I do have plans for in here. So after the first of the year, I got some cheaper projects I'm gonna finish up. I put my FM UHF antenna outside earlier this year. Got my cabling ran in here. Got my. It was a very slow project, but I got some better cable management going on up by the ceiling, so that project probably only costed less than $100. A few trips to Menards and Home Depot and Lowe's and Fleet Farm. So I do have to fix some of it because the adhesive tape I put on the back there is not holding, but I'll just get myself some self-tapping screws and then bring the ladder from home over here and Carl up there and do a better job. I had the landlord's son come over and kind of tweak up some of the other wiring that I previously did up. No, I'm not an electrician or anything like that, but I just put some LED light fixtures up in the front there to kind of light that area up better. It's not perfect, but that was one of the first things I rigged up when I moved in here. There was one person I was under the impression that they thought I lived here. No, I don't live here. And there's quite a few customers that kind of teased about that I should move in upstairs. But honestly, I got a house I'm staying at. It's not under my name, but I'm not going to get into any more details than that. But I'll just put it this way. I got enough interesting projects lined up, and we'll do some more YouTube live feeds this coming year. I can't guarantee every day of the week we're going to do one, but I'm just surprised that I'm doing it now. But it's 5 years ago. I never could have seen myself doing this or even having the courage to even do this. But sometimes you got to step out of your comfort zone and just move forward. And sure, I make a few mistakes, and sure, I act like I don't act like anything, but as time goes by, you get better at doing things, and you get better at speaking, and you get better at presenting yourself better, and it's eventually I would like to rig up a capture card for the next computer I get so that I can hook my video camera up to it and film all my content from the camera directly to the computer so I can upload it to YouTube a lot easier than a lot of you are thinking, why don't you just copy the media off your camera to the computer and just do things that way? I did do things like that, but it was just kind of time consuming, and a lot of days Either I'm out on the road working, or I'm out doing consulting jobs, or I'm working my other job. So by the time you get back here at 10:30, 11 at night, you kind of you get kind of worn out, and that's kind of why I haven't been uploading videos. I got a pile of them stored on this workstation that need to be edited and gone through, but I just been busy working and trying to build my savings account back up. So it will come. I will get it built back up again, and I'll get all my debts paid off eventually. And no, luckily I don't have any car payments at this point in time, and I don't have any major loans or credit card loans out right now. So it's the kind of thing when you're young, my advice to you is if you got the money, pay as much as you can in cash. When you and if you are in an itch to build up your credit score, just do it in small. Take out like $1,000 loan and then pay it back over time. Just do small stuff for right now if you're younger or if you don't have a credit score. Eventually, once you start getting a good reputation with your bank and credit card companies, and then you can move up to like store credit cards like Kohl's or JC's Penney's or Macy's. But don't charge large amounts either. Just do like $50 here, 50 to there. You don't have to build it all up all at once. And even if you go buy a car in that, make sure sit down and figure out your finances first, and figure out if you can actually afford to even go out and do a car or go out and buy one. If you're like me, you go out and buy every $300 beater and drive for a few years until either rust out completely or you need major work done, and then you just sell off to a junkyard and go buy yourself another $300 beater or $600 truck or an $800 van or something. Well, one of the I got now that was more than $800, but the point that I'm making is you don't want to get a bad reputation with banks or credit card bureaus. I got friends younger and older than me that have made mistakes with banks by not getting it paid off in time or late fees. And I'll tell you this, the debt collection agency is not ruthless, or they're not pity. They're not going to pity you if you can't get it paid. They'll crack down on you harder than if you just pay it up and be done with it. So, and a lot of times I pay for stuff in cash. I don't usually have much of a paper trail. So you got to be careful when you're spending money, or if you're going to you're going to buy something big, make sure you got a backup plan in case your finances fall through. But basically, the bottom line is this is going to be hard to explain, but just bear with me on this. If your check bounces or your credit card bounces, that's how a lot of banks and financial institutions and stores, and even if your employer checks on your credit history, it determines what kind of responsible person you are. So when you're applying for jobs and then be very careful what kind of financial history that you've had, because chances are your employer or future employer may not hire you based on your credit score or your financial history, or even if you're applying or if you're trying to rent an apartment or rent a house or room or hotel room somewhere. If you're not responsible enough to pay rent on time, or there's a very good chance that you're going to get blackballed by those agencies, and any future apartments that you try to go rent, you're going to have a hard time getting the apartment. So my advice is play it safe and pay everything on time. So if you got to forego cable or internet or phone or any entertainment or anything, period, then just kind of let it go. And you don't have. And another good piece of advice is if you're dirt poor and you got a wife and you got a couple of kids and you got a house that you're trying to pay your mortgage off on, when you go grocery shopping, you don't have to buy everything pre-made. Like my grandma was telling me when she was when she was in her 20s, her and my grandfather, they were dirt poor when they were young. And what she was saying was they never bought store-bought cakes or store-bought food or anything like that. Well, they bought food, but they just bought the basic essentials like flour, sugar, a lot of mixes, and actually they didn't even buy mixes. Everything they made was from scratch. Even they made their clothes from fabric instead of buying pre-made clothes like a pre-made T-shirt or a pre-made flannel shirt. Or she would make her own. She'd make the kids' clothes. She'd make herself stuff, and she was pretty good at what she made. I know this isn't very important detail, but this was about 30 years ago when my uncle first met his wife down in Milwaukee, and then his mother-in-law's was, "Where did you get that shirt? That's a really nice. That's like a $70 or $80 shirt." And he says, "Oh, my mother made that or she handmade that," and she was blown away. She says, I didn't think anybody could make anything that nice homemade. I only thought you could buy from a store like that." And he says, "Oh, you wouldn't believe what my mother can conjure up." So the only thing that they didn't make was like dress pants or the jeans or shorts, or tennis shoes or anything like that. But You can get by with on a shoestring budget with making. You just got to be a little more crafty in the kitchen when it comes to cooking instead of opening a pre-mix or pre-made box of like pancakes or so instead of opening a frozen package of them, you just make them from scratch. And I'm not talking a box of pancake mix either. I'm talking you make it physically with actual ingredients like milk, and I don't actually do my own. I don't cook very often either, so I'm I shouldn't preach about it either, but there's ways of getting by on a shoestring budget, and there's a lot of young people are poor out there. And actually, in a way, it's kind of a good thing because if you got everything handed to you on a silver platter, or everything handed to you like new cars, a house, or a fancy house or truck, or you gotta work. Today's millennials, if there's any in the audience, you have to work for. You gotta work for what you want. You can't just expect people to hand you money left and right, or hand you new vehicles, or hand you stuff on a silver platter. You gotta you gotta work hard for what you want. And there's some people out there that don't want to have jobs, and there's some out there that don't want to that they just want to sit and play video games all day. But you're not going to collect Social Security that way. You're not going to get a pension or 401k or anything like that. You gotta go out and work, and you gotta put in an honest day's work to fulfill. It doesn't matter what you do for a job. If you're a mechanic, or if you're an IT person, or you're building maintenance, or you're a landscaper, or a doctor, or dentist, or even if you work retail, or you work in a restaurant, or a gas station. It doesn't matter what you do for a job, but as long as you work a good day's work, and you work 40 hours a week, and you contribute to your household and contribute to society with your taxes. Chances are you're going to be poor most of your life, but once retirement comes, chances are later down the road you're probably not going to have any Social Security. But that's why you got to set money aside starting now. Doesn't matter if you're 18 or 17 or 21 or 24 or 25, even if you're 30 or 40, it's never too late to start saving now. So basically, there are options out there as far as different investments. You could invest some money into a stock, like a tech stock like AT&T or Cellcom or Microsoft or TDS or Time or Spectrum. I'm not saying it's the best advice to get into, but I don't advise investing into the into like GM or Ford or Chevy or Honda or Toyota, because any of those companies could belly up at any time. But you just, if you're gonna make investments, just be careful. Do your research. Get yourself a broker if you can afford it. There's a lot of different opportunities out there. There's even real estate investments that you can get into. But if you ever get into flipping houses and that, it's kind of, now is not really a good time to do it. Or if you do vehicles as an investment, or if you flip vehicles, usually if you're gonna buy a car, January after the first of the year is the best time because everybody's broke, and chances are you can get a better deal during January or February. So I think on this note, we're gonna end the stream. If you want something good to watch, jump over to Check the News with Jonathan Shuttlesworth and Rodney Howard Brown. That's over on Revival Today. We're missing about half hour into it, but you can always rewind it and start over. Yeah, Jonathan Shuttlesworth, and they always got interesting news about what's going on around the world and stuff here in the United States with the political and presidential and stuff like that. So if you're bored, give them a try, check them out, see what they got to contribute. God bless everybody. Take care. And hopefully tomorrow we'll get around to doing or starting the video on a custom build. So good night, everybody, and we'll see you tomorrow.